Ethiopia did not send a delegation to the IGAD summit, saying it was informed too late about the Uganda meeting. But speaking in Addis Ababa on Thursday, a Foreign Affairs spokesperson rejected a statement by the Arab League that called the Ethiopia-Somaliland Red Sea deal a clear violation of international law.
The statement released by the Arab League does not suit the organization and the members. It is obvious who steers the organization. Above all, this is a disregard for the Africans. Africans have the capability to solve their problems by themselves. They have proved this practically. This is something that discredits the belief of African solutions for African problems.
Now, to shed more light on IGAD and the growing tensions in the region, we're joined by Professor Francis Onditi, Associate Professor of Conflictology at Riera University here in Kenya. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us. So we've heard, of course, from that IGAD meeting in Uganda. What's your take on the announcement they made after the meeting?
I think there is something that we need to take note of. During the meeting, the AU chair attended, that is Honorable Fawaki, and that tells you a lot. The resolution that is made in Entebbe in Uganda on Somalia, Ethiopia, tensions, it's going to grow, and the solidarity that is recently established between AU and IGAD, it's likely even to entrench the decision that, Ethiopia need to observe the sovereignty and also the territorial integrity of Somalia. That is within the international legal doctrine of the principles. And so moving into the future, I think Prime Minister Abiy of Ethiopia will have to think twice about moving forward with the deal, because most, if not all, the states in the Horn of Africa seem to be backing Somalia, and Ethiopia remains isolated. But after having said that, I think there is a need for, good officers of IGAD and also the AU to continue marshalling and putting together, resources to bring a constructive dialogue into this tension that is happening in the Horn of Africa.
Okay, but even as you speak of constructive dialogue, Ethiopia was a no-show at all in Kampala. Somalia rejected mediation. So given these two hardline stances from these two parties, what remains the way out?
Now, they will continue to have the strong stand. The positions they have taken, I don't think either of them is going to back down because each one of them feel that they have the right to have their stand. But they will have to use, IGAD and AU will have to use maybe the stick, where need be, to kind of put pressure on Addis Ababa to loosen their stand. But at the same time, trying to provide some kind of a leeway for Hargeisa and, Mogadishu, maybe to iron their domestic issues before they bring them to the regional, so that the region can find it more easier to provide the solution that is required at this time.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. There was also another topic that was on the agenda of the IGAD, and that was the Sudan crisis. Yeah. Now, we do know that IGAD says they've given the two warring sides 14 days to have a face-to-face meeting. Is this something you see happening?
You see, with Sudan conflict is a bit complicated for many reasons, but one is that one of the warring group, that is the SAF, the Sudan forces, they feel that some of the leaders in the region have an interest in their conflict. And so in such a case, it becomes very hard for even IGAD, who is the chair, Djibouti, who is the chair of IGAD currently, to pursue the dispute resolution in that country, and also other countries in the region. And so moving forward, I think we expect humanitarian crisis even to deepen. But in terms of getting resolution to the problem in Sudan, it might take a bit longer, or maybe we need more players, more actors to come on board, those that are seen by actors to be neutral. For example, I would expect AU to play even a bigger role as opposed to IGAD, because already the leader of SAF feels that IGAD leadership and the regional leadership is rallying around the leader of the RSF. And so with that, in dispute resolution, it becomes a bit complicated to bring everything to settlement.
And we do know that the Sudanese military has sort of suspended ties with IGAD. So again, just belaboring your point, where does this leave the bloc in terms of pushing for a solution? And why hasn't the AU up until this moment jumped in?
I think AU was a bit calculative. Their estimations seem to be not going in the right direction, but always in conflict resolution, AU would leave the regional economic communities to first of all get in.
I mean, but in a situation where we see the military now saying we are suspending our ties as Sudan with IGAD.
So then we expect AU to get in, the big brother to get in, because now it has to be the big brother, because one of the players doesn't have faith in IGAD and the leadership of the region. And that's why I said perhaps we might have something like IGAD plus, AU plus, stakeholders taking charge. Maybe where possible having other regions come in, other leaders come in, maybe from SADC, maybe from ECOWAS, West Africa, because that is the only way you're going to create some kind of a neutral ground, which is a preparatory for a dialogue that is accepted by both sides. Because in diplomatic resolution, Penina and your listeners, it's very important that both parties agree to whoever is advancing or mediating, but also the environment need to be made in a way that is a level playground for all the players. But where there's some suspicion, like what is the case now between IGAD and Sudan leadership, it cannot move forward, unfortunately.
Thank you.